Okay, now we're about to go live. 3, 2, 1. We are live.
Live?
Oh,
Welcome, ladies and
live.
gentlemen, ARMTV's live call-in show, the only live call-in show that you can find related to arm wrestling anywhere
Yeah,
on YouTube.
we're it, right?
That's it. It's the
I
greatest.
mean, it's a game changer, I think. Okay, Uncle John, before I let you take over, because you are the host of the evening, again, anyone who is out there, this is an opportunity for you to tip your waiter, if
Tip
you
the
will,
waiter.
because he is your server. He is serving you this evening. He is serving the content
Gotta make
to you.
them bucks.
So, any super chats tonight, go to Mr. Uncle John. Be sure that after you take over the show that you let everyone know that.
Certainly.
So I get it, Tuesday night's yours if you want it.
Yeah.
Anyone else out there? Jake, I want Aussie arm wrestler involved. So I just want him to pick a day that he wants and he can have that day.
Right. I wonder what his time is right now. It's probably like morning for him right now, I'm guessing.
Yeah, he's getting off work right about now. He works mornings and he gets off noon or something like that. Okay, yeah. So Uncle John, we've had a big weekend.
Man, there's a lot that happened, huh?
First of all, before we get into that, you were going to say something and I cut you off before we went live. What were you going to say?
I was just going to comment. So I was editing all day long, all from the time I got up till I went to practice today. And so I wasn't communicating while you were live with Travis, but I was thoroughly impressed with how many people were watching you guys live. It was over 300 people at one point, right?
I know. What?
Insane.
How is that even possible?
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what, that's the second time you've done that with him? Like
this is our third live show.
Show.
In the afternoon.
In the afternoon, 300 plus people. That is mighty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, somebody was saying it's because we put Levin. I mean, I guess we're going to starting next week is the Levin show. We're going to talk about him from toe to head to toe, every ounce. I'm going to scour the internet for all videos, all pictures, and we're just going to analyze him to the detail. I mean, is he that?
That's what brings in the clicks, right?
Is he that world class, that popular? I had no idea. I'll be honest.
Well, I think he's such a mystery, right? It's like you don't often see him. And when you do see him, he certainly isn't, communicating a whole lot. And he's never gets seen with guys like Michael Todd or Larry Wheels or like any other big name arm wrestlers other than like Gennady Kvikvinia and some of the guys from Georgia. So it is special. It is important. We haven't really seen a lot of it. So like Levin's just out here as this hulking Godzilla floating in the ocean somewhere. And us in North America, this is kind of like the real time where we can be like, okay, so Godzilla, as destructive as we thought he was, apparently he's like the strongest human that's ever lived on the planet, I think.
I'm really torn. I need to ask your opinion. Is it completely understood, obviously, that he's enhanced?
I would assume that it's assumed that he's enhanced. I mean, so bottom line, the guy obviously has amazing genetics. Obviously, to get to that size with or without the juice or with or without the whatever he's using is amazing, right? But it's hard for me to believe that a man of that size is not on literally everything he can get his hands on.
Like, I am torn on wanting to blow up the sport of arm wrestling. I am torn on whether I'm supposed to be encouraging this.
You let people do what they want to do, right? People can
do. But if I had $1 million, do I want, let's say I had $1 million a year budget.
Right.
And I was like, okay, we're going to blow up the sport of arm wrestling. Am I calling up all my friend arm wrestlers and be like, it's time to get it's time to Hulkify. You need to get as big as pot. Like, is that the path I should go down, or should I pretend like I don't like it, even though you know that the genetic freakazoid enhanced dude brings in clicks? Am I
Yeah, well,
supposed to tell you not to do that?
I
I
don't think
don't
you
know
have to
what to
pick
do.
one. I don't think you have to pick one. As whatever our job is, in my mind, anyways, our job is to entertain people. And one way or another, of course, we can bring in our own beliefs and whatnot. My belief on steroids is that people can use them if people are willing to use them. There is, if they use them long term, there's going to be some negative side effects for them, most likely for most people. So if they want to take that risk, I'm fine with it. I would just hope that if you're deeply into steroids, you stop going regularly to non-tested tournaments that are supposed to be for like amateurs only, or, you know, like if you're on a bunch of gunk and you're going to WAF every single year, that's kind of BS.
Yeah.
If you're in the WAL, I say, let it rip. That's what the WAL is there for. We want to see the monsters. We want to see the highest of the high, the top 8. Sure, get on all of it. By all means, I want to see it. I just, you know, for me,
I'll be 100% honest with you.
mm-hmm.
This is just as real as it can get. I really had the frame of mind of like, ooh, I don't like it. I don't like the enhancement. But I tell you, after watching just a couple of videos of Levan, he is so sweet. It like converted me. It was like, I
Yeah.
was like, I just fell in love with him like almost instantly. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe he converted me into uh like a fan that fast. Like
Well,
I was on, like I was almost able to just forgive him for it. Is that bad, or is that?
well, I think it's a lot like what Travis was talking about earlier in your guys' live stream, where he's like, there's really not a lot of real pricks in arm wrestling, right? Like
Yeah.
you can see these guys and we get these images in our mind, but because most of these guys are so mysterious, like Levin, you just don't know much about him. And then you meet him and you just realize he's kind of a quiet dude, and, you know, he's nice and he's willing to play along and he's not so bad.
Uh, Arm wrestling, strongman. Listen, man, I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest. I've listened to so many people try to convince me that you can look like Larry Wheels and be normal, but I get it. Larry Wheels has been on record saying yes, but I don't know if you literally eliminated all enhancements from the entire planet Earth. I don't know. You're telling me that nobody would look like Arnold Schwarzenegger from Commando and Terminator and Predator?
No.
Like that's impossible to look like Natty?
No, but it's an extremely limited amount of people on the planet, right? So Ronnie Coleman, there's an argument to be, you know, Ronnie Coleman, right?
Yeah.
Multiple time Olympia. Now, whatever you want to believe, there's a set of beliefs where he says he was natural up until a certain point. He still was absolutely an amazing specimen of a human before he went on all the steroids, supposedly. So if you believe what he's saying or not. Now, once he went on steroids, he took it to a different universe altogether. But it's only because Ronnie Coleman has a very special set of genes and genetics that he's able to get that big. Like, I'm never going to be able to get that big. You're never going to be able to get that big because we don't have those natural genetics. It doesn't matter how much we take. You have
Well,
to have the base.
I got to be honest. It was like overnight, it was like, oh, okay, I like him. And it was like,
Yeah.
I almost was like, okay with it. And I'm, as a promoter, as somebody who wants to be promoting events, I'm really not sure what lane I should be in. I've seen people comment in the chats, but I haven't been able to read all of them. A couple of people have called me an idiot for asking this questions, but dude,
It's not a stupid question.
you are an idiot. Okay. It is not that I don't know. Let's take it into marriage. Okay. Let's say you know your wife is cheating on you, but you've blinded yourself to it because you love her. I think, like in the sport of arm wrestling, that's more what it is, because I don't want to accuse friends of using. So I've turned a blind eye for so long and have just told myself, Natty, you can look like that, Natty.
Yeah.
You can be daddy, which I get. If you step out of it and you're not married to your wife and you're looking at another girl doing these things, you're like, oh, of course she's Of course she's cheating. Anyways.
Right. Well, I think the thing is, it is frustrating, to regular people who don't have and I'm not saying I'm the genius of steroids. I'm just saying that, it's not just the steroid. A lot of people think it's just the steroids. If I get on steroids, I will be massive. I will be immense. You still have to do more work than 99% of the people. And you have to have genetics that are better than 99% of the people, right? To get to that level. Like if you and I take steroids, we will get better.
Yeah.
But it's completely dependent on those two factors in the beginning of it, and probably a million other factors too.
All right, I'm cutting out of here in about 5 to 10 minutes. I am highly disappointed that I do not see any people in our waiting room area. You know what this is? This is our third week now doing it in a row. I expect some regulars. Well, Billy Berg says, Gary, I don't know if you like me or not. Are you joking? What does that mean? You seem like a very sweet man. And you're a NatFit distributor, so I have to love you.
Right. That's true. That's good.
Speaking of, brought to you by NatFit and Western Survivor, which I've eaten my last package. Adam,
look at this.
Oh no, you got it.
Yes.
Yeah, but it must be far cheaper for him to ship you since you're local.
Is he in Canada?
Yeah, he's Canadian, bro.
I didn't even know. All I know is that he messaged me. He's like, I'm gonna send you some beef jerky, and I got it the other day. And I'm waiting for my little bit of a cheat time so I can actually have some of it.
Okay.
I can't have any of it right now.
All right. I probably should have made you host before we entered our first. Is it okay? Is it okay that I just
Mic check.
Yeah, we hear on, brother.
We hear you, Julian.
What's up?
Put your video on.
Did I not?
Give me a second. I'm at work.
No, you call in when you're ready, bro.
I'm ready now. I'm on my work.
Okay.
I work night shift.
Stand by, Julian. I'm coming for you. I'm training for you. Don't worry.
I hope you are.
Uncle John, I'm going to make you host. Are you starting to figure out an agenda of what you'll do with this show and how you'll do it?
Well, I think the best thing that can probably be done is use this time as kind of a refresher on what's just for this episode anyways. I want to take a little into account everything that's happened with Levin, because there's been quite a few things that have happened from his impressive displays of strength. I just saw a little tiny clip of him breaking now the back pressure world record quite easily. I haven't watched the full video, but that's kind of been a big topic, and he did it like without even really thinking twice about it. So
okay, before I go, that's a great topic, and I can't wait to listen to the show because I want to hear what you have to say. Mm-hmm. What do you think about? Did you listen to the whole show today with Travis?
Not the whole thing. I was kind of probably half of it, but it was chopped up a little bit.
Did you hear the part?
Yeah, I was a little late.
Did you hear the part where I was explaining why I did not include Juji Mufu?
Parts of that, yeah. I agree with you. It makes no sense to include Juji Mufu and Tom.
He's like a fitness.
Yeah, well, not even that. See, I included Larry Wheels because even though he had history of not being arm wrestling and now he is arm wrestling.
Yeah.
By including Larry Wheels in the chart still looked kind of cool. If you add, let's say we're all running a race and the video's filming us running a race, and then you put the space shuttle right next to us and it's launching. Like, you can't include the space shuttle footage in it doesn't, it's just not even
everything else for everyone.
Yeah. So anyways, are you in the camp of Larry Wheels is an arm wrestling channel or not?
No, absolutely not.
Larry Wheels is not
a lot to arm wrestling.
He has never arm wrestled in a tournament.
Julian, hold on.
An arm wrestler. He's not an arm wrestling channel.
Wait, are you saying that you fall in the camp that I should not have? I think there's some people that are
57%.
I think there's some people that are truly upset because Alex's channel and Schoolboy is so popular. They want like him at like the #1 position.
I don't care about that. I just
just wanted some interesting data.
Yeah.
And I think
I
people
love
were
that.
like, basically like, Larry Wheels doesn't deserve to be on this channel yet. So like, what does Larry Wheels have to do to earn your
Arm
street
wrestle in a
cred?
tournament. Larry Wheels has never arm wrestled legitimately that I'm aware of in an actual tournament.
I was about to say, Juji Mufu actually did that
Juju
one. So
actually did. But
yeah,
the core of these guys' channels, both of those channels, is not arm wrestling at all, right? Like
no,
if we look at
not at
all
all.
of Larry's videos, all of his videos, what percentage of the videos contain arm wrestling? There's a bunch in the last year, but
Well, that's what I was looking at. I was like,
Yeah.
currently he's modified, he's evolved
yeah,
into an arm wrestling channel.
he may become that, but it depends on what you want to look at too. Is it just everybody in the community? Because Larry's definitely in the community, but I don't think he's an arm wrestling YouTuber, right? But Larry has so many hats that he wears that it's phenomenal. I mean, the guy is sensational human, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that like what Larry does is not the same thing that you and I do, right? I mean, what Larry does is only done by one person, and that's Larry. But yeah.
Sonny Gay says, Gary Roberts for president. Sonny Gay, I miss you, man. Hope to see you again, and thank you very much. Okay, so I get it. Here's the thing. I've gotten emails now from all the channels I've missed. So finding that data is far too labor intensive than I like. So anyone out there, don't even start because it's horrible to go.
So there's a lot of comments right now about how Larry is a real arm wrestler and Larry's promoting it and we're pushing Larry out. You guys who think that are full of shit. I just want to make this very clear that you are full of shit. I in no way want to push Larry out. The only point I'm making is that Larry is not an arm wrestling YouTuber. He is a very extremely popular YouTuber who happens to like to arm wrestle right now, and I love it, and I appreciate it, and I want more of it. But do not tell me for 1 second that Larry Wheels is operating an arm wrestling channel, because he ain't.
Oh, dude, I had no idea when I was posting this video that we were opening up this conversation. All I know is I've got to read. There are some legitimate channels that I missed out. Paulin, Lethal Assassin, Sarah Bachman. Sorry. So I'm gonna redo some data and we'll see. I probably make a couple versions so people can see with or without.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely cool.
But Uncle John. Before Uncle John's in charge, everyone go subscribe and like and share and just make love to Uncle John's YouTube channel.
All day, never stop.
All day.
Julian, have you watched any of this Levan business?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been on top of it.
Can Michael Todd have any chance against this dude?
Man, I'm USA all the way, but I don't know. That's a mighty big guy.
That's what we got to talk about. We got to talk about the reality.
Okay, Uncle John.
That's reality. They did the whole measurements and all the measurements.
Yeah.
Like the dude's hands, wrist, everything is like doubled size. So I mean,
yeah,
Michael Todd better get on the shit.
I want part of tonight to be about is all of this information that we've got over the last 4 days. What does it really mean? What is it? Where are people at? Because Neil and Devin did a big video too, and I agree with a lot of what they were saying. So
I haven't watched that yet. I still got to go watch it. Okay,
it's good.
Julian and anyone else out there, if you're on the show, please
come on,
bounce off Uncle John, respond to what he says. Hell, disagree with him with everything he says. Make it interesting. Bring something to the table.
You're getting off of here. I hope you're getting off here to go train.
I'm gotta go with the baby. Uncle John.
Oh, okay.
You're the host. Hide my camera.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Wait. Derek Smith is in the house.
Yes.
Derek Smith.
If you want to come on, I want to talk to you about this. So click that link, buddy.
I need to know.
Yes.
Dude, I gotta be honest. I am not lying. Derek Smith, I hope you're still listening to this. Derek Smith had more people at that practice yesterday
Oh my God.
than I had than I had in 2 ROTNs combined. $40,000 in prize money over 2 years, and he had more people at a practice. That is amazing. And I need to talk to Derek. Derek, I've got $300 for first place, $200 for second place, $100 for third place, or 20 of your best guys out of that group to do an ROTN King of the Table for me. You think about that, and we plan a date. You're in charge, Uncle John. I look forward to listening to what you guys have to say.
All right. See you later, Gary.
See you later, homie.
All right. Let me get back to gather review here. All right. So here we go. We got some good talk going on. Good talk going on over here. Julian.
Yo, what's up, brother?
Anybody who wants to talk about Michael Todd, Levin, all that stuff?
Yeah, I was about to say here. All right, so in reality, how it looking for me, sorry about lighting up, like I said, I'm at work. As an outsider looking in, not knowing anything about arm wrestling, I'm going to go with obviously the bigger guy.
Sure.
But because I'm in the sport, I also know that that bigger guy is probably going to win. Only just because I've been following Levan even before I started arm wrestling competitively 6 months ago. So just because all the crazy lifts.
Right. So what did we really find out? First, it came with the measurements, right? So
Yeah.
Levin is literally like what, 23-inch bicep.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing that Michael Todd was like even close to, and I think he was like 20, 21 or something like that.
The wrist.
So
Michael's was
the
what?
wrist.
8 3/4 compared to like 10 or 10 and a.
Yeah, that's the wrist is what I thought was the most craziest.
Yeah, his wrist, and then the hands. It made Michael's hand look like a little baby hand.
Yeah. Actually, I've met a couple people with some rather large hands. So, like old farmers, I live here in Texas, and I've met a couple old guys that had some massive paws. So I can only imagine seeing the measurements, how actually big his hand would be in real life.
Yeah, absolute monster. And then now after that, we kind of come to the issue of him pulling Larry. Now, a lot of people were freaking out about that, and I didn't quite understand why.
Why? Yeah, I don't understand why either. Maybe because they're just fans of Larry's.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was cool and all, but like it'd have been cooler if it was Michael Todd.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then Michael switched out. And Michael didn't look nearly as impressive against Larry when they were putting the bands on, right?
No, not even close.
People will go to that image and be like, oh my God, obviously Levin is just so dominant. But what we have to remember is that the way Levin pulls and the way Michael pulls are two completely different things altogether, right? So Michael is constantly, opening up and getting into that defense and then coming back through with the King's move. Levin is just going to bring it right to you. His hand, his wrist are so massive, not to mention that the bands never affected the hand whatsoever, right?
Not even a little bit.
That whole time, Levin was able to just kind of crush and dominate Larry's hand. And then Larry was only, even with the bands, he was really only able to pull with his arm, right? So I want to say one thing. I am fantastically impressed with everything Levin does. I think he is an incredible human being who is certainly a 0.001% level person.
Did I hear that he said he broke the back pressure record or something like that?
So apparently a video just came out. I just saw a tiny little clip of it before we came on, and he did a version of the back pressure. It was more of a straight pull, which is I think is actually a little bit harder than when it's coming from below. But he put it up. He put it up, and he's like, he probably could have done more. And it was like what 100.
That's insane.
I can't remember what it was, but it was like 185 pounds, 190 pounds, something like that. And
yeah, I think he's probably going to break the strict curl record soon too. Probably.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a video on that. At some point, because it's. I mean, what can't the guy do? The guy doesn't do any log pressing, and he's log pressing like 1 million pounds too. So.
Yeah. It's actually kind of crazy. Some of the strongest people are just arm wrestlers, and they focus on one aspect of being strong but yet they're retardedly strong. Like Dennis Saplankov, because he does hold the strict curl record.
Right.
So just to take you got to be ridiculously strong.
Right. Now the other thing is, when it comes now, I think we had kind of two camps before. We had people who were just pro Levin and people who were pro Michael Todd. And now I think this really, threw a wrench into things, where a lot of the people who are on Team Michael I've heard anyways, there's several people who are switching over to Team Levin. Now I will say this. I believe that we don't have enough information. Obviously, Levin is freakishly huge. I think he's way stronger than Michael in almost every aspect. The key is he stronger than Michael in the one aspect that matters? And that's his ability to negate and dominate the Kings. That's the question. That's the only question. And I don't know the answer to that yet.
Well, for me, is because Levin's so big, I think endurance is going to be his biggest factor. And the way Michael Todd trains, endurance ain't going to be a problem for him. So I think it was on Beauty and the Beast earlier today, Gary and Travis said that he's going to get him in like the 4th round or whatever if he don't smoke him. So,
yeah, I mean, that's another thing is, can Michael get into a situation where he is able to chip away at Levin at all? Like, he needs to break Levin's wrist back. And I am not confident that is a thing that any human is going to be capable of doing.
I don't even know if Frank Mir from UFC or something could even break his wrist back. Like,
man, it's pretty.
I don't even
like that type of strength is rare. Now the other thing. So Mazel Jador is in the chat. He just brought up 6-0 on 7-inch pads, but that is the other big question. Where does the match happen, right?
Yeah.
Because to me, it seems like it goes very differently depending on the league. Because if Michael has that extra 2 inches, got the 9-inch long pad, then I think that his percentage goes way up compared to a PAL pad, where I think that percentage is really, 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 really low. Yeah,
that's going to be a huge factor in it, as well as where and when they're going to do it. Because if they wait too long, then Michael Todd might, he's only getting older. And I don't know how old Levin is, but I'm pretty sure he's pretty young.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, but I'm guessing either maybe early 30s or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think.
If I'm not mistaken, he's pretty young. So that's pretty crazy.
What do we got? We got some things in the chat going on here. I just want to.
The only thing that I think about Levin is it's got to be on something, But like you were saying, it's not just the steroid. Like me and you could get on steroids, or we're not going to have the same results.
Yeah.
He does put in the work, but I have mixed feelings about that, because I come from the world of MMA. So I would love if the sport got cleaned up and someone made a league that actually drug tested these guys and cleaned up the sport.
But then the problem with that is that the other leagues will just continue to not test, and then the league who tests won't have any of the super freaks, right? Now, I would love to participate in that league, but can that league exist and be functional and make money for whoever's running it, right? That's the question. Like, I'm all for having both. I just don't know if it's feasible.
I think we need to act, like, I don't know, like I said, this is just the MMA aspect of it, but if we could like legitimize the sport, like bring in a sport athletic commission or something like that, and that where all leagues would have to test, you know. So,
and that's, of course, that's like, you know, a dream at some point in it's so much
definitely
structure and so much money that needs to come in that
like, I mean, what did it take? I hate using that, but the UFC took like 25 years to get to where it's at now. So
right,
and that was with one person dumping countless millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars into a company. So
and that's it. And arm wrestling has had these little money infusions every once in a while, but it's never been like a big, you know, all together now.
And I think that's because everybody is like, no, this is my way. This is my way. You know,
there's lots of condescension. There's lots of old guard who've been around arm wrestling for 30, 40 years. And they're, you know, really hung up on the way they want to do it. But different people want to see different things, right? So in the chat right now, Ronan Unleashed says, we want to see freaks. Southwest Arm Wrestler says, I want to see God-given strength and hard work. So there's different people.
It's a 50-50.
Right? Yeah. So nobody can just say, well, I have the moral high ground, the moral position, blah, 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 because half the people don't agree with you, right? They don't care. They don't care about anything.
Here's my thing is, because the sport some events and organizations don't test or whatever, you can even the playing field by doing what he's doing and get on the sauce and try to have the same results, you know, and that's the only way, which I'm sure to be and to stay at an elite level, you got to have something, man. I mean, I haven't never been at an elite level fighter or anything like that, but
well, here's the thing for everyone who, you know, is worried about steroids. I think most elite arm wrestlers, by most, I mean 80%, 85%, 90% are doing something. I don't know what it is, but they're doing something. So if you got your favorite, be prepared. They're probably on something too, even if it doesn't look right?
Oh, I'm 110% agreeing with you on that one. But like, what I don't get is the size of some of these guys' forearms. Like,
amazing.
That can't be natural. I don't care what kind of genetics you got.
Yeah. We got a super chat from Joe Valentine, $5. Thank you, Joe. He says a governing commission could create a threshold of use rather than an absolute prohibition. That's another option, right? It's kind of like the middle road where if we had somebody controlling it, you could say, all right, people, you can do, and I don't, there's a lot of difficulty with this too, but laying out what you can and can't do, giving a little bit of leeway, but you know, that will still weed out possibly some of the super freaks. But ladies and gentlemen, by the way, we're having great conversation here with Julian, but if you want to get on, feel free to click that link.
Yeah, come on, people, where y'all at? I know there's a bunch of people watching.
Come argue a little bit about who's going to win. Who's going to win, Michael Todd or Levan Saginashvili? Or even better yet, is it Levin or is it Levan? The greatest debate of all.
Debate of all.
How do you say that man's name?
USA all the way, but if I was a betting man, I'm betting on Levin.
Levin? I've heard both. But So yeah, feel free to come on, guys. Of course, this is the Gary Roberts ARMTV live call-in show, hosted by none other than good old Uncle John from Uncle John's Arm Wrestling Show. If you haven't subscribed, please head on and do so.
Go ahead and like my YouTube page called Arm Wrestling Mania.
Arm Wrestling Mania. Head on over there. Why not? Sounds good. What are you doing videos of lately?
Well, I haven't dropped a video in a while because I haven't done a tournament since the one in Oklahoma. But once I go to another tournament, I'll have some more videos, a couple training videos on there. But that's about it. I'm just going to upload every tournament I go to, take people on my personal journey through arm wrestling or competitive arm wrestling, rather.
Nice. Derek Smith, welcome to the conversation, buddy.
There we go.
Now,
if
I want you to come in here and steamroll everybody and just tell everybody exactly what I told them and that I'm the smartest guy ever.
If I have to, got one more dumb opinion on this fucking Levin and Michael Todd match. This shit is driving me crazy.
Preach it, man.
First off, if this isn't an example of styles make matchups more than anything, then I don't know what is. This is like the most opposing styles ever. To judge Levin or to try to base an opinion off how much Levin can hold, he's not going to be holding with Mike, right? Yeah. And then not test Mike's defense, how much he can hold on his bicep, which is what he's going to be doing. Right. So like these are things we didn't find out. Right. So when people, like the rubber band thing, people are freaking out about the 4 rubber bands. That's crazy. If you've used rubber bands before, you'll know that when you stand over your elbow and you push down, you can hold a lot. But did you notice how he stopped pinning the rubber bands after the first one?
Yeah.
He was just holding, right, until they gave up, until Larry gave up. Levin, by all means, is amazing. He is the strongest fundamental arm wrestler on the planet, I think. Right.
And I think we can agree on that. Yeah.
I think people are reading into this a lot. We haven't seen the important numbers. And even when we do see the important numbers, like the King's move can't be quantified. It's such an odd thing. I mean, who knows how much, how strong Michael Todd's bone structure is. And if he's actually willing to pull until he breaks his arm, then we won't know, right? Because even if you did test it at the gym and measure it, then he's not going to go to the arm breaks, but in a match, he might, right? So we don't even know how powerful, how much he can really hold, right? So, I think those things that we need to look at. Yes, of course, Levin is bigger and stronger in all the fundamental lifts, but that's not everybody knew. If you didn't know that going into this, then come on, where have you been? Right? Of course, Levin is the strongest guy, but Michael Todd, it's just going to be whether Mike can, if his arm can hold up, his bicep stuff won't break in half, and if he can keep Levin's wrist flat, which we did see Levin. The only interesting one to anybody should be how much he could wrist curl. That should be the only one because of how much he's going to be able to hopefully wrist curl through Michael Todd's arm. I mean, hopefully with Levin. But besides that, all the other stuff is just cool. It doesn't do with the match that we're about to watch.
So from your point of view, from what you believed about this match last week, before any of this stuff came out, to now, has anything you've seen changed what you believe the result might be for the match?
I now know for a fact that Michael Todd can lat row more than Levin can hold.
Interesting.
I know that now. But besides that, no. We now know that Michael Todd, his little workout thing he does, the lat pull thing, that was more than Levin's other numbers, right? So because Michael Todd's arm doesn't open up, so this is just stationary. Now he can lat row a ton. Now, if you mix in pronation and you mix in Michael Todd still peaking before the match.
Yeah. No. And people also forget that Michael Todd has been absolutely destroying himself every single day for the last 2 weeks with Larry, right? So that undoubtedly plays into it. Now, and I want to be clear again that in no way, shape, or form am I, and I believe nor is Derek, dumping on Levin, because the dude is an absolute freaking phenom as far as I'm concerned. It's just a matter of, for me, I want that specific data. And it's really hard to get that data about how things are going to work out when Michael's doing a King's move, right? Because it's such a wild card, and we don't get to see it happen at those, like, it's the highest level possible. It's the biggest force going this way against the best force going this way.
Now, an interesting topic could be, is Levan going to try to press through it or rise above it? That could be something interesting, right?
So,
and we could look more closely, because if you want to talk about that.
Devin mentioned that in his talk with Neil the other day, and he said the biggest tip that he had for Levan was that he needs to rise before he tries to flatten out Michael or get Michael's hand turned up, right? Because if he tries to turn it up first, that's just playing right into the game. So Levan really needs to demonstrate and lock that stuff in right away, as according to Devin, and I tend to agree with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been I don't know, years now. I've been saying that not by a landslide. I just think Michael Todd could beat Levan, and I've been saying it for like a year or two now. And people are always like, "What? Are you serious?" I'm like, just stylistically, man. Yeah, I think so. I think so. So
we got Joe Valentine in the chat here as well. Joe, what do you say about Michael Todd versus Levin?
Well, first, I feel like it's nigh on impossible for me to beat any argument that Derek puts out there. By the way, hi, Derek.
It's a big one, yeah. It's
but
tough.
I'll do it just I'll do it just to make things interesting, I suppose, because I actually do tend to agree. And I watched the Devin and Neil conversation twice, and I basically found myself nodding along a lot. But I am fascinated with this idea that it doesn't really matter what the pad is. It doesn't really matter how easy it is to get the straps. That Levan is the only human being I could think of who could grab God in the middle of the table and literally just, you're not getting anywhere. So I'm just fascinated with that. And I just feel like that I continuously envision that happening and just the spectacle it would be. And I want to see it. Not going to lie. I want to see it.
same thing of Denis Saplantov. I mean, he had a match with Mike, and he could grab anybody by the middle of their bicep and pull them across the table. And him and Mike were close, and Mike's now, and his King's move is tighter now. His riser is stronger now. He's advanced his King's move, and if he can do it to Denis, I don't know.
Let me tell you what's going on in the chat, Derek. A lot of people telling us that we're idiots.
Oh my God. Damn it. I knew I shouldn't have got on this. Landslide
it's going to be for Levin. Straight press right away. Michael isn't in the same galaxy strength-wise. That might be true. That might be true in some lifts, but there's other factors that we have to weigh in here. Here, Julian, I muted because of your background noise, but you can unmute yourself.
No. I'll go ahead and mute.
Oh, all right.
I'm just listening right now. I'm watching the pump at my job, so y'all keep chatting. I'm here.
All right, sounds good, man. You had something to say, Joe?
No, ultimately, it is an arm wrestling match. Like, that's ultimately where it goes. So, yeah, Levan is that much stronger. But I don't think it would be a blowout. If I had to put money on it, I'd put it on Levan. But for lots of reasons that have been discussed, absolutely. One of the coolest things about the sport is sometimes the weaker man wins. He's just a better arm wrestler. So I wouldn't entirely bet against Michael to do it, but like I said, I just kind of wanted to make the conversation interesting because there's a lot of different ways that it can go, and I hope they can do it too, like under two different rule sets. Just also for the fact that we know there's going to be people who are like, well, that just leads to more questions. And it's like, well, there should be, that's cool. If it's a completely different story under PAL than it is under WAL, well, then that just gives, especially in the time of COVID, that gives us so much more to talk about and discuss about. So why not?
It's great for us, right? It's great for us, for sure. There's no doubt about that. I just think that all these big super matches, it's like people will see what their eyes see, and it will automatically turn off their brain for everything we know about these people in other contexts. And this is not me saying, oh, Levin's going to get killed by Michael. It's me saying we don't have enough data at this point in time. And there are other things. The other thing that isn't factored in is, when was the last time we saw Levin really struggle and really be in a bad situation or a tough situation on the table? I don't know if I have, because he's able to just dominate with power so much. What is Levin going to do? He seems like a very calm guy, but all of a sudden, let's say he wins match 1 with the power. Michael makes an adjustment and he stops him. Is Levan going to have enough, up here and in here to stop, be thoughtful, and figure out how to work through it and not completely burn himself out fighting a bad position that he gets himself in match 2 or 3, let's say, because that can ruin him for the rest of the super match. It's very possible. It's happened to a lot of people before.
I mean, also, you think, like, who's the strongest fundamental arm wrestler in North America? I think we would all agree is Dave Chafee, right?
I mean, I don't know what the other argument would be,
We saw Dave Chafee fundamental arm wrestling against Michael Todd. And how much stronger do you think Levan is than Dave Chafee? How much? I mean, you can say he's stronger than, but how much? Do you think it's that much? And you see how comfortable that match was for Michael?
Right.
I'm just saying, how much stronger is he than Dave?
I mean, it's hard because Dave is obviously immensely strong. I guess the other question is, do you think Levin has more arm wrestling prowess than Dave?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think Levan is more versatile. I think that when he pulled Vitali and he countered Vitali's low hand with a high posting top roll, I think that was a great adjustment. I think he handled that well. I think he's been arm wrestling since he was a kid, and if he doesn't know how to arm wrestle by now, then it's a little too late. So, I mean, I imagine that he will make a good adjustment. It's just, will it be enough, at this point?
Yeah, that's
I
true.
think the one thing that makes it. Oh, I'm sorry, John.
No, I was just going to say. Remember, everybody, that this is ARMTV's live call-in show. You are able to call in and have a little chat, argue, and you can do whatever you want within reason. So feel free to get in on this. Also, super chats, of course, are very welcome, as they always are. And if you don't know who the hell I am, I'm Uncle John. Head on over to Uncle John's Arm Wrestling Show for lots of great arm wrestling content.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we've got all this new data with Levin and Michael. Obviously, Levin and Michael are whether it's Levin and Michael or if Igor is part of it, but they want this match to happen quite a bit, right? They want this match to happen. What is the likelihood that it does?
I mean, I think it will. At this point, I don't think Mike would be saying it's going to happen unless it was going to happen. I mean, there's so many ways to make it happen. If they can't come to terms, that's ridiculous. I mean, there's nothing going on in arm wrestling right now. If they can't find a way to meet up with each other and arm wrestle, like, Jesus. I don't think the rule sets matter. I don't think the pads matter. Mike's been efficient on all pads and all rules. Levan is yet to be tested on, like, WAL, obviously, but I don't think it'd be that big of a difference. I mean, I think WAL would cater to Mike more, but I think Mike can do just fine on PAL, PAF, or whatever all the things are.
I honestly give Michael a slight advantage for sure in WAL. Mm-hmm. Maybe a 60-40, just because, Levin's not proven there. Michael owns it. He owns that table at this point in time. But it's like it's really hard to say as well, because we don't know how much red tape is in the way of this. Are they holding out for the most money? Are they holding out because there are certain contracts that cannot be broken? Are they waiting for, the Prince of Dubai to, open that wallet or whatever money device a prince uses? I don't know. It's hard to say.
The bag, John. They have the bag.
The bag? It's just a bag that you satchel?
Bag of money. I think there's a lot of options. And a lot of people, there's a lot
that Scrooge McDuck used to spin it.
So.
Oh, what was that?
So it's like the bank vault that Scrooge McDuck used to swim in.
Yes, that's probably it. Filled with cars and everything else. So what do we got going on? Gary Roberts with a pity super chat for $9.99. I appreciate that, Gary. Supporting the channel. I appreciate that quite a bit. Mizell Jador says in PAL he goes 80% to 20% for Levin, and WAL he's going 65-35 for Levin. I mean, it's not out of the realm of reality, I guess. It's very possible.
No, dude, it's totally possible that Levin will just grab him and just go sideways and pull right. That's possible for sure. It's just if history has proven anything, and if you want to, give respect to everything that Mike has done, everything he's strived for, then you can't count him out like that easy. I would think, right? And if that match stops, I mean, Levin can make some adjustments, but if that match stops, things are going to get real dicey. Suddenly percentages are wildly changing if that match stops. But yeah, I mean, I think that it could go a number of ways. I don't know. I just feel like Mike can do it. So
well, and Michael has proven in the past that he is willing to do literally whatever it takes to win, right? Mm-hmm. There's not many people on this planet that hate losing more than he does. And I think, if anything, for Michael, this little meeting with Levin will scare him enough to send him even into like more overdrive than he's already in, right? And so who knows, if it happens in 6 months, we might see a 320-pound Michael Todd who is, taking all the Larry Wheels special, whatever you want to call them,
vitamins,
all those vitamins, and that's possible too. So good times. Well, people love this conversation though. It is big. You have to admit that. What do you think about it, Derek? Did you catch the very beginning where I was arguing with people about if, because Gary put Larry Wheels on his little chart thing, that chart video. Did you see that?
I didn't watch of it.
Yeah. So there's it was documenting all of the arm wrestling channels and their growth over time. And he put Larry on there. And I said, in no way is Larry's channel an arm wrestling channel. Larry's channel is a channel that has arm wrestling on it. And I am so happy it does, but I don't think he's got an arm wrestling channel.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
Larry's a jack of all trades,
right?
Bodybuilding,
arm
in there, but he has yet to even compete in arm wrestling. So to call his arm wrestling channel,
that's what I said.
That's
like
because
yeah. So we also got Paul Lynn in the chat now. Paul is here. Paul, if you want to jump on, feel free. Talk to us about being strong and how strong you think Levin is. That'd be great, man. There's a link up in the top.
That's
and anybody who
right
wants
there.
What's that?
I said Paul Lynn. That's a strong dude right there.
I know. He's in the back pressure contest. I weigh the exact same amount as Paul Lynn. I weigh the exact same amount as Paul Lynn, and his back pressure lift is 35 pounds more or 25 pounds more than me. So yeah, he knows a little bit about it probably.
Yeah, I was just watched one of his back pressure videos just the other day.
Yeah.
I tried the back pressure lift. My pulley system, when I put the low, I picked the whole thing up off the ground, the whole pulley system. So I have to go get it bolted down to the concrete. So I can't do it yet.
Yeah, I have to put I have like bags of salt that I put on the bottom of mine to hold in place. It's the same.
I didn't even think about getting bags of sand or whatever. I'm running into the same problem on my weight machine.
Yeah.
Every time I go to pull on some serious weight, that fucking machine wants to just tilt right on over.
Yeah.
And probably
my club is doing that lift on Sunday.
You're gonna do it on Sunday?
So,
yeah, we're gonna basically just a group of us. I actually asked, like, hey, is anybody? Yeah, I was like, has anybody been watching this? Like, what are the numbers at? And we kind of collectively realized that they're all really old.
Yeah.
Or there's a question of accuracy because
right.
At my gym, I have pulleys, but I can't really find something that's the right, like a table, and I don't want to drag one in. So yeah, we're gonna do it. This dude, he's got a pulley system, he's got tables, he's got crane scale, got the whole damn thing. So I think we're gonna really go for it.
Well, and for anybody watching this whole PR thing, ARMPR, by the way, the brand new exciting show on Uncle John's Arm Wrestling Show every Friday. We'll test PRs and we're battling it out. and we're putting arm wrestlers against one another and kind of seeing where our PR is now. Now, there's been a lot of drama about certain types of lifts and how valid a certain lift is versus another lift. And in no way, shape, or form is this back pressure, this back pressure, strict back pressure. It's not about this is the best lift or the lift you should be doing. It's just the lift we are doing, right? There's a lot of different ways to train back pressure. And honestly, this particular lift, I never attempted it once until Ryan Bowen did it, right? Every back pressure thing I do is the full 9 yards. I've got something up here. I'm dragging in with my lat because that's what I do on the table. But this is also interesting. You know, it's a little bit of a different way to do it, and I'm enjoying it. And so everyone knows, we will be changing the lift every 2 weeks. So back pressure lift will be finishing up next week. So this Friday is the halfway point. We'll finish it up next Friday. And at that time, I will unveil what the next lift will be. The next lift will only require a dumbbell. That's all you need is a dumbbell. You're probably going to want a heavy one, but or something that's, you know, expandable and changeable. But that's all you will need is one dumbbell.
This is oddly familiar to the thing I'm doing on Reddit. I've been doing on Reddit
Really?
well, yeah, on the top, the leaderboard thing. I don't know how many months ago we started this, where every few weeks there's a topic and everybody competes, and we track all your records, your PRs. You post videos of it, but everybody on Reddit, we have like a leaderboard, not a leaderboard, but we just track it. And then it switches every few weeks, the topic. We have a revolving like amount of lifts. It's like 6-7 lifts.
Oh God, well, I'm just gonna go steal your lifts then. I don't got to think of them. That's excellent. That's excellent.
Yeah. It's a cool way to get the community involved and stuff like that, and get people.
Yeah. I wish I would have seen it earlier. I kind of ended my relationship with Reddit because I don't know. It just, the format of it just doesn't do it for me. But that's great. That's great. So we got Paul Lynn coming in. So Julian, I'm going to let you go, but thanks for being here tonight, buddy. I appreciate it.
Just gotta say, Derek Smith, I'm a huge fan. It was an honor being on here with you.
Thank you.
Uncle John,
Right on.
Deuce out, Joe Valentine, rock out with your socks out. Paul Lynn, what's up, brother? And I need to go ahead and plug my custom design business, E&J Custom Designs on Facebook. Go find me.
Nice.
Arm Wrestling Mania YouTube page. Y'all have a good night. See you
All
later.
right. Take it easy, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. We're letting Paul Lynn in this.
Good old Paul Lynn, huh? Good
Oh, Paul Lynn. Going to be
Nice armor.
Totally cool.
We got to see what Paul's up to with PRs. Do you like PRs, Derek? Are you like always pushing? I really, I'll be honest, I haven't been a big PR guy.
Honestly, a lot of the training and stuff I do is like still progressive overload shit. It's just I sounds weird. I don't know how to say this. Because of my size, I can put on strength relatively. My body wants to put on strength.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much consistently moving up my lifts. I track all my lifts. So, but I do sets of 6. I don't go below 6 usually. So I don't really, I haven't like 1 rep PR in a while.
There he is, Paul Lynn, the arm assassin himself.
Look at that guy, dude. I want to be across the table from that dude.
This monster over here. Can you hear us, Paul? Thank you. Oh, we're connecting audio. Very good. Very good.
Oh man. Come on, Paul, you got to smile, bro. You're going to ruin your image, man. You can't be getting hardcore here. There's people watching.
Can you hear us, Paul?
I got you now.
Nice. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, fellas?
Oh, we're just having chats about being strong and how we're not as strong as Levin. And
well, I mean, Levin, what was it, 88 kilograms or something? And then Ryan just got on the group chat a second ago. If you haven't been reading, John, and said
I haven't seen it.
It wasn't 88. It was 72. He's not from Brisbane. He can't possibly do 88. The calculations are off.
How can we possibly discredit Levin? That's what this conversation needs to be about. We need to find every way to discredit the lifts that Levin does so we can feel better about ourselves, I think.
I know, right? This whole ARMPR thing, you could literally spend your entire time picking everyone else lifts apart. The pulleys were too low, they're too high. They're on a double pulley system. He didn't calculate. Does he have a crane scale?
Right.
Who cares?
That's the other thing that I want to express to everyone is that this whole ARM PR thing is very relaxed, right? I'm going to give you some very specific things of what I would like to see, but for the guys who are like in the competition this time, so this time around, it's Paul Lynn is in there. We got all the guys from Australia. We got Herman Stevens, Jonathan Breda, myself, Artem. And there was a lot of talk up front about, well, how, specific. I'm like, the less we think about it, probably the better off we're going to be. Okay.
For sure.
And it's just something that's fun because like Derek and I were just talking before you came on, Paul, like we are not particularly like PR centric type of guys. Are you? Do you PR a lot?
No.
Right.
No, I mean, I compete with myself, but rarely ever with one reps. So like, I'm rep driven usually for like health, just because I'm old now. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I mean, after I did that, and I just did way too many reps like a dummy.
That was a lot. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, and I mean, my brachialis is like, like that tendon soreness is there. That's why you're like, are you guys are open to try more? I say, I'll pass. It's not that important.
So that's the thing, and it's if you're out there and you're in the chat. So the way it works is the group of guys that I'm doing to do the actual like leaderboard competition are going to be like known people. So Derek Smith is someone who will probably, if he wants to, he will be on the leaderboard, thing in the future. If you want to do one of the lifts, absolutely. But everyone else that's on this planet that wants to try the lift, you can do it. Tag Uncle John's Arm Wrestling Show, put that video online, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, let me know about it. And then on the off week, I'm going to be displaying all of the viewer submissions. So you can show the world how strong you are, or you can do it really poorly, or you can be like Ryan Grondin, who put out, he's the worst arm wrestler in the world. He did 1,000 pounds of back pressure. Yeah. So he put Levin to shame, right?
From a really high angle too. He had it at really interesting.
And it's so much harder that way.
No, I mean, no, but all seriousness, you like this whole idea is awesome. And I think for like a couple of days, it pretty much broke Facebook, which is cool.
Right.
So, and what's unique about it is everybody's posting their own videos. And because it's such a hot topic, everybody's tuning in. So it's a big mutually beneficial thing. And once again, we can't compete really. I mean, how many competitions are out there? What do we have to work towards? Why not bullshit a little bit?
That's the thing. I'm so bored. Not all of us can have practices with 300 people at them, Derek. I mean,
that's the baseline out there in California.
You just got to put the word out, man. That's it.
Man, that was amazing. How many, did you get a count of how many people were actually there?
In the photo we released, there was like 78, but I know there was like 50.
That's a big one.
Jamie Sheldon, and most people had already left by the time we took that picture.
Right.
So it was just like, I put myself in a situation now, like in Southern California, where I'm friends with everyone. I know all the captains, all the arm guys, like I'm friends with everyone. And so we came up with the idea, and I was like, you know what, if I say it, I'll get the word out there, and they'll all know about it. And no one's done shit as far as since ARMBET has been out. Everybody's just practicing in small groups. So I was like, dude, I already know it. Everybody will be here to have some big old turnout, and it did. Worked out perfect.
Yeah, that was very, very impressive. Some of the stuff I saw from that, and I'm looking forward to seeing. So I know who was there. Was somebody there doing like more of a intense filming job at all, or you put up
I filmed everything. I actually was editing it today. I'm not done yet. With my new iPhone 12 Pro Max.
Nice.
And so the footage, dude, this thing's awesome. The cameras, like the cameras it has on it, it's great. But no, Ed Bedrosian was there. But besides that, no other film like guys that have big YouTube channels or anything like that. But Ed's more, I think he does more photography, and so he released those.
Sure.
But yeah, got the videos coming out. It was great to see everyone over there. Vaz getting Oleg and Jamie Sheldon and everyone, Dallas, and everybody was there.
How big is Vazgen right now? Because I saw a couple pictures from him, and I'm like, is that man thick right now, or what?
Me right now? No, I'm just kidding. He's like one. I think he's like 180 or something.
What?
But dude, don't even trip.
He'll come around.
140 in 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Engen's ability to hone himself in is second to none. That's for sure.
No, but it's great. I love watching those matchups. I mean, I've seen these guys all arm wrestle each other 1,000 times, but it still never gets old to see everybody, and especially with Dallas going around and all the stuff he's been doing lately, and to come back and I don't know, gripping up with him and all that stuff. Although he stays away from, he hides from me at practice.
He hides from you? Why? Well, what's that? What are you trying to say?
Everybody else, I was like, but no, it all went, it went really well. I got a bunch of cool clips. You guys will see. There's a bunch of clips. Alan Fisher's there. Dude's hand is still massive. It's bigger than mine.
65. I think it's his birthday today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Happy birthday, Alan. Happy birthday. If you're watching, tune in.
Absolutely amazing. So Paul, we were having a big discussion about Levin and Michael. And specifically, has your opinion of that match changed based on what you've seen over the last, 4 or 5 days?
No. I think some people's opinion swayed in either direction based off the last 4 or 5 days. I mean, I think we got to see I think we got to see, how truly bigger Levan is than Michael. But even listening to Neil and some of the discussions that we've had, I believe that if there's anyone on this planet who can give him a run for his money, it is Michael. And I also believe that Michael's not in tip-top shape like many of us are not, because we're not preparing for anything. Whereas Levan seems to just stay enormous and like he's trained up constantly. So I still think Michael has a shot, man. And maybe it's just me being a home team guy, but I like his chances. I think he's got the heart to back it up. And I don't think we've really seen Levan be tested as far as the heart goes. You know what I mean? Like how much willpower is it going to take? I mean, I would take Michael's willpower against anybody's.
Yeah.
I think the world of him in that aspect.
So let it be known that myself, Paul Lynn, and Derek Smith literally have identical feelings about everything that's going on with Michael and Levin right now. It's for me, I will officially say this, because last time Michael had a match, it was his left-handed match at TAL. And I wanted Michael to lose, because if Michael lost, that means I was somewhere in the realm of him left-handed.
Right.
Turns out I am not in the realm of Michael Todd left-handed. So Michael Todd, I am 100% behind you in this Levin matchup. I am going deep for Michael Todd. I'm saying it right now.
But we're all idiots. Isn't that what the chat said? We're all dumb. Isn't that what the chat said? That we're wrong?
Oh yeah, the chat was not very. There was a few people in the chat that are not on board. They're very on the Levin train, which I don't.
I respect that. I respect that. But here's the other thing. I'm innately going to root for the underdog. Like when it comes to, fighting and sports, like, you're not going to catch me rooting for Conor McGregor.
Right.
I was very happy on Saturday. That's just how I am, guys. I want to see those guys get knocked out. I'm sorry. But honestly, I kind of started questioning Levan a little bit more. I do think like Neil always says, he is a very good arm wrestler, and he doesn't get credit for it because he's so strong. He doesn't usually have to show it. But I started really kind of questioning how good is Gennady Quickvinia after watching them pull a couple times in their recent practices. Now, I will say, watching that stuff, like, it doesn't sway my mentality about Levan too much, because he clearly takes the role of the seasoned guy who's going to hold, where Gennady and everybody else who trains with him, they take everything they can get. But it did kind of, it shed some light on his mortality also.
I think that's a good point. Coop Hebert says, does anybody remember when Devin and Lalatin gripped up? It wasn't even close. If Devin and Michael are close, but Levin beats Lalatin 6-0, the real question is, then who hasn't subscribed to Uncle John's Arm Wrestling Show?
I like that. I thought we were about to go down the Puller A beats Puller B, but Puller C all that. I don't want to hear that.
Very nice. Coop Hebert. I appreciate that. That was very funny. Very funny. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, for me, it's still in a very exciting matchup. I think it will be very split, and I think it's one of those situations. Like, there's a lot of situations where it's split, but I think one side is completely out of their minds. Right. But I think there are arguments to be made, on both sides of this. Certainly, just because Levin could be like there could be more levels to Levin that we don't know about. because we
here's
just
the
don't
deal.
know.
Are we going to see the match, or are we just going to keep flirting with this thing?
So that's
Like-
another question that we brought up, right?
Like I'm not interested in Floyd Mayweather talking about fighting Manny Pacquiao for 7 years until Manny's 50. And
Right.
then now, I'm not interested in that. We need to, obviously we're in the corona and, we got contracts and things of that nature, but like, I almost don't even want to speculate it until it becomes a possible reality. At this juncture, I mean, is it even possible? The guys spent like 3 days hanging out together and thumb wrestling and stuff. There's no arm wrestling.
No arm wrestling. So and we kind of talked about the multiple levels of things that might be getting in the way, whether it's money, whether it's contracts, whether it's both guys, needing to be at a certain level, and
Right.
do the things that are required to be at that certain level at a certain time. So we'll see. But the other question is like, do you know how old Levin is? Either of you guys? Do you know?
I do not.
I think he's like 30.
Yeah, he's still young.
30s. Yeah.
He's
30 or
still young.
32, I thought I
Whereas what Michael's like 45-ish.
46.
Yeah. So the question is, will Michael have the same type of longevity that a Crazy George has with his King's move? I don't know if he will, just because it seems like Michael has a lot of damage going on there. And, although he has really come around from the King's move in the past, this is the other thing that nobody's talking about is Michael doesn't need to always use the King's move. It's always there, but he has developed other styles and he is incredibly strong in other styles. But, is there a point where Michael Todd is going to, start to, instead of, being amazing and more amazing, that we start to see a bit of a fall? Is that something we worry about too?
There has to be. And I think one of the biggest things that makes a comparison between George Zakowicz and Michael Todd kind of tough is that George competed at a very lightweight class for a very long time. So I don't think that the level of mileage is on his arm. Michael, I mean, has been competing at the highest level, at the highest weight with the strongest guys on the planet for a very long time. I mean, I pray that he holds up forever and he's like a superhero, but my gut tells me that we're not too far away. That downslope may be in sight now. So hopefully if we do get to see this match, we get to see it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that's the dream. That is the dream. So in the chat, we got a few comments here. We got somebody confirming that Levin is 30 and Michael is 47. Evan Keller says he will not have the same longevity. I want him to, but I don't see it happening. Right. Let's see. We got S. Drummel says medicine's getting better. 60 is the new 50. I guess that's another point of Michael will, I'm assuming Michael is going to do everything he can medically, and because he's already done the similar stuff like in his elbow that Devin has, right? With the whatever it is, shooting.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know what
he did stem cells, PRP, all that stuff. I talked to him about it before I did the PRP stuff.
Yeah.
But I think he's pot committed to whatever's going to keep him going. Yeah.
So that's an interesting point as well of what in the next 10 years, what advancements in medicine and body composition, health are going to come up that help an arm wrestler. You never know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real telling because arm wrestling in and of itself is like not the way our bodies are supposed to move in general. And then if you found that with Michael not even moving the same way arm wrestlers move, we really have no data to what he's going to look like in 10 years. What his arm can look like at this level. No one's ever done that, right?
Yeah. So Paul, here's the other thing we brought up. Do you think that Michael, seeing what Levin was doing, and seeing Levin be outrageously strong in all these lifts and in so many different ways, do you think that Michael will go into overdrive with Larry and really be like, okay, I need to do anything it takes to get as big and strong as possible for me to fight this guy? Do you think that that's it? Or do you think Michael's going to stay on my game, do what I do best and rely on what I have already?
Oh, well, once again, I mean, I think does this match become a reality? So I don't think it, that, and to me, this is like 100% speculation. I've talked to Mike and everything else, and I know how pot committed he is to, to peaking and being at his best for a WAO match, as far as a rematch with Devin or Jerry, the form that he gets into. I can only imagine if this match became solidified, there is no possible way that we wouldn't see the best form of him. Now, as far as speculation as to how he's going to get there or what he's going to do, that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. But I know the guy has, he's one of those guys that is, he's a full-time arm wrestler, really. One of the few guys out there. He's got an incredible gym at his own house. He's got an incredible training partner. He has a wife who takes care of him as far as nutrition, all these things going. I mean, he is essentially a full-time fighter who trains for arm wrestling like a fighter does. So I can only imagine how he would react as a person and being a lion-hearted dude that he is if he's given that ultimate test and if he's given enough time. He'll definitely come in the best version of himself. I would expect nothing less. If he didn't, I would be disappointed, and I don't want to bet on the guy if he's not going to do that.
Right. So here's my. Go ahead, Derek. Yep.
So Michael Todd is training with Larry Wheels, and Michael Todd has said a bunch of times that after this training camp or whatever he's doing with Larry, that he'll be the biggest, strongest, best version of Michael Todd ever. And I agree. But Michael, in general. But Mike has always been doing sport-specific lifts, arm wrestling isolated lifts leading up to an event. And now he's doing log press and stuff like Olympic compound lifts. So what do you think? Yes, I think he'll be the strongest version of himself, but will it be on the table, the strongest version of himself?
Another good question.
Good question.
And will, if Michael gets to the strongest version of himself and it is more of a full body, obviously Levin is beating him in most every single full body lift that they did as well, by a significant margin. So, is that going to matter? Is that going to help him, or is it just going to make him better as a human overall?
It's so hard to say with the King's move, I'm so unqualified to talk about it because I don't do it and don't plan on doing it anytime soon. Mm-hmm. I can't even really speak to whether, total body strength is going to have any bearing on that at all. What I can say as far as my style, being a, pulling, posting back pressure, shoulder driven side pressure, hooking, things like that. When I am strong and when I am healthy and I feel good in the gym, as long as I'm keeping up on everything from the fingertips down, I always feel better. Right. So I feel like if the log presses and all this new added stuff, if nothing more, what it gives you is a psychological edge. When you have just PR'd or you have just done things that you've never done, the endorphins that you release doing that and the positive energy in like visualization is everything. I used to lift weights before a football game because I liked the way it felt and I like to feel big in my pads. Yeah. And to me, that translated to better like vibing in a game. So is it smart? I don't know, but what do we get out of it? I think that aspect has to play in Mike's favor, as long as he's not letting go of all the arm wrestling specific stuff and really going towards one side. Because I think it's one of those things where if you change too much in your camp, in your training, that you're really running a risk.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, I guess there's another match out there that with another guy, which is also very interesting. At this point, do we still is Michael versus Levan still the match, or is the match shifting to Levan versus Lalaton?
Well,
I mean, it's never been not the match. Of course, we want to see the match, but is it the match now? Because I know a lot of people are now putting Levin on a different level than Michael due to these videos and due to what we've seen. But, obviously it's a match we want to see, but is that even a better match? I don't know if it's a better match.
I mean, we saw Levan versus Lalaton.
I guess, yeah.
We saw it. I mean, and I thought that was Levan's most impressive outing.
Yeah.
As far as adjustments and how he arm wrestled.
He had to work the most, I think.
Yeah.
I want to see Jerry and Vitaly. That's what I want to see.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
That's a clash.
What do you think? What do you think about that, Derek? Because I think the big X factor there is like normally with Jerry, that style, that like outside top roll is so negated by a flop wrist or a dead wrist press. But does Latin's lever length play into that? You know?
Yeah, I think Levin can do it. I think he'd have enough. I think he's explosive enough and has enough experience backwards that he'd be able to get Jerry past center before Jerry can initiate. I think, but if he doesn't, it'd be a really interesting match we have in our hands for sure.
Right. I still think Jerry and Levan is not a bad match. To me, that's still interesting. I think these are like the two styles, the king move and the dead wrist press that we see so much here in the States. But I don't know how much exposure Levan really has to that top level of those two moves.
Yeah. Getting styles make matchups, then we're getting into that whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really going to be interesting. Like, there's so many potential matches now, just with the top guys that have been swirling and swirling. Like, I don't know when things are going to open up again, but when they do, it's going to be like there's going to be super matches every single weekend, like for a year.
Yep. The rankings are all getting shuffled.
Oh, God. It's so impossible to even do rankings now. It's so useless. Like, I'm a part of a rankings, and I'm saying it's useless to do rankings because half of the country, like in North America, half the people can't pull.
Yeah.
So,
well, the ironic part was, in the hook, and then the other rankings. That one, they all came up during this time too. It's like the toughest time to do it. They reached out to me and asked me for my top 20. And I was like, dude, I said, guys, I would love to help you, but I can't do a top 20 myself. I would need you guys to have to drag me along and ask, maybe I could weigh in on one or two little things here or there, but I can't do a top 20 at all the weight classes. No way.
Yeah, it's very brutal. I joined up with the Arm Fighter one. I'd never done the rankings, and it's multiple people that are being averaged into the list.
Yeah.
So I like that a little better. It's definitely not perfect, but it's the only reason I went in because there's guys like Josh Handlin on there.
Yeah.
And I think Josh Handlin knows pretty much everything there is to know about who's where.
Yeah.
Another super chat from ARMTV. He says, make sure you're all plugging your channels. Paul Lynn has an amazing arm wrestling channel, an actual arm wrestling channel on YouTube. Paul Lynn, what is your channel?
Lethal Arm Assassin Network. I know that's a mouthful, but if you look up Lethal Arms, arm wrestling, or anything like that, the channel will come up. We switched it up. It used to be like my name, but that I had enough of that. And I figure we'll make it more like a repository for arm wrestling content. So we kind of leave the gates open to all kinds of different stuff arm wrestling related, and we try to include as many people as we can.
Nice. And Derek Smith, of course.
Yeah, I'm way more than Paul. Yeah, mine's my name. But Derek's it's I've been investing a lot more into it. I'm excited. I know I've been saying that for a while, but I really have. I got a new computer. I got the new phone to film with. I got the ring light. I got the stuff coming around. So I'm still going to go visit Larry. Is still the plan. Just waiting to get back the dates for that. But yeah, guys, check out my channel when you get a chance. And it's just arm wrestling stuff and what I do for arm wrestling and shit like that, basically.
Nice. Joe Valentine, you've been hanging out patiently. Do you have a YouTube channel at all?
Yeah, it's called I'm Just Happy to Be Here Right Now.
Nice. Appreciate that too. We like that. We definitely like that. Nice. So I don't know. For me, I think it's pretty much, a done deal as far as what we've seen with Levin and Michael. I have maybe a better appreciation for just how strong Levin really is, which is really, really freaking strong. But I don't think nothing has really changed for me as far as my beliefs about the match with Michael, or, I'm still just as confused as if it's going to happen or not. And, that's kind of the end of the story for me, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. I'm almost over it. There's been a lot of content, you know what I mean? I tuned in as much as I could. and we've seen a lot. But I mean, how about Larry Wheels? Shout out to this guy,
Oh,
man.
the best.
Are you kidding me? This is like the savior of arm wrestling right now. This guy taking a shine to arm wrestling is so mega for everybody. And just like imagine, Derek, when you get out there, like that'll change your social media completely. Like I can't wait to see it happen. You know?
Yeah, be a cool little push. And then we'll go train with Ingham.
Yeah, I know.
Super.
And I guess the other thing to talk about from this weekend is I am starting to see little things with Larry that he's doing a little bit better.
Oh yeah.
He looks a little bit more confident. He doesn't look like there's body parts going all over the place quite as much.
Yeah.
And that is a really, really good sign.
Hey guys, listen, you know, if you're tuning in and you think Larry Wheels is a joke as far as arm wrestling goes, just hold your breath for a few more months. All right. The more people that go out there and work with this guy, and the more he becomes addicted to this sport, I promise that he will be a very high level arm wrestler if he sticks with it. He has all the tools. It's only a matter of time.
He really, at this point, I think the thing that will benefit him the most is some realistic tournament experience or a realistic super match experience, whatever that's going to be, just for those goes and getting, you know, having someone really screw with you. Because a lot of people think, well, I got to train for the tournament, so I got to train all these ready goes. Yes, you do, but also realize your opponent is going to screw with you. You know, if you're at a decent high level of play, your opponent's going to be messing with you. They're going to be messing with the refs. They're going to be distractions going on. And if you're not prepared for that, that will single-handedly take away a lot of your other abilities in certain situations. So that's my biggest wish for Larry, is that we actually get the man in some tournament goes for sure.
Yeah, I think when I go out there, like it's not that I know more about arm wrestling than the people that Larry's talking to. I just think that I have an ability to dumb things down and make things really simple and basic when I explain them. So I'm thinking and I'm hoping there's gonna be a lot of light bulb moments, a lot of, and I think I can provide a lot of that as far as like explaining why you would put your pinky here, what it does, what it does not do, and what like the effects it has. Like really just explaining things a little more in depth. I think that's why I've been wanting to go out there with Larry for a while. I've been talking to Adam Silver for a while about that, but yeah, hopefully I can provide something. I just want to simplify some stuff. I'm not trying to change his game. I'm not trying to disrupt what Michael Todd's doing with him at all. I just want to get on there, some alternative perspectives of some other stuff, ways to approach training and table time. And then, you know, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I'll just show him what I do. And then that's about it. You know,
that's good.
Right. And I mean, you look at Derek, I mean, Derek's running one of the biggest clubs, true arm wrestling clubs in the country. Yeah. So that means that he definitely has a track record with starting up new guys. And what's so ironic about Larry's situation is he started out working with some of the best arm wrestlers, you know, and to Derek's point, some of the best arm wrestlers have forgotten the early steps. And like, I'm not making any necessarily like speculations. I can say for my own self that I struggle teaching the intermediate stuff. I can teach the basics, then there's a gap. Then I can teach the higher level cheats and stuff. And in the middle, I'm just not comfortable. And I think that could be a situation where maybe Larry didn't get those step-by-steps early on. But the other thing about that too, Derek, is I mean, you've been around the game long enough now. How many, you know, you've probably worked with a ton of the greats. I know you have. And you can only take a little bit from each person. So I think, you know, you definitely have something to offer Larry. Like you'll be paying your dues out there for sure.
Yeah, I've definitely picked what I liked, what made the most sense to me out of everything. I mean, I've been to Travis seminars, been talking to Devin Laird for 7 years, Mazarenko's seminars, Dimitri Trubin seminars, Rustam Babayev seminar. I've done all that stuff and picked the brains of a lot of those guys and seen the common stuff that they all do. And then the different approaches a lot of them have. And yeah, just kind of what made the most sense to me always. And yeah, that's kind of how I approach things.
Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. So that's good talk about Larry and Michael and Levin.
How about what's coming up? How about, does anybody have anything going on at all anywhere?
Well, I'll tell you what, in Nova Scotia, they just relaxed things a little bit, so we can now have full practices again. And technically we can hold tournaments with 50 or less people, including spectators.
Invite only.
Right. So I'm thinking I'm going to try to put on like some super match stuff, invite some people over just in small numbers and get that going. We had a practice just tonight, just right before I went on. And we had a super match there, just kind of a friendly practice super match. So that's where we are right now, because it's Canada's tight with rules and regulations. Luckily in Nova Scotia, we've been locked down pretty much since the beginning. So it's getting a little bit easier for us now. Hopefully it maintains, but no actual tournaments scheduled at the moment.
Wow, that sucks.
Yep. I don't have much going on either. I'm still having a match with Ian Carnegie. We had talked about it, but we haven't actually talked a couple months about finalizing that. We need to get back on the same page with that, but it wasn't until we got a few months to go anyway. So I've been training hard. I mean, I'll be ready if and when we do that. Besides that, I mean, I get a lot of invites to go to tournaments and stuff like that. And the Larry thing, the Ingen thing is pretty much the only thing concrete that I'm planning on right now, because everything's still up in the air, and just training to get as strong as I possibly can. It's just these guys that I'm trying to look at and these steps I'm trying to make. It's just like horsepower is like a really big deal, you know? And so just trying to work on that as much as I can. PR, you know?
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. We will help you facilitate that, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I will give another hint. The next lift, I already gave away one hint. This is hint number 2. Hint number 1 was all you need is a dumbbell. Hint number 2 is that this is a lift that Engen has done and posted on Facebook in the last 2 months.
Oh, okay. So now we got you sending me down a research rabbit hole. Thanks, John.
You can do the research on your own, or you can wait for not this Friday but the following, and I will reveal all about what the second lift will be. And don't forget, if you're in the chosen group, you're fighting for a good prize. We got pound for pound. Best lift gets $200 gift voucher from Pound for Pound Arm Wrestling. So does the overall best lift. And then from the viewer submissions, you can also win a Pound for Pound t-shirt. So
get that out of here, man. I can mess with no Pound for Pound.
Yeah. Ryan's trying to give me stuff I don't want.
Did I mention you can
I got Pound for Pound stuff already.
Uncle John as your code for 15% off.
But yeah, that you're talking about. Ingen's been posting about that. I think I know which one you're talking about. So I gotta try that. Anything Ingen says, Ingen's whole training philosophies and the way he looks at arm wrestling clicks with me, and so I've adopted a lot of his philosophies. Like I'm definitely more approached the style of arm wrestling. So
yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm probably a little bit more excited to see that content of you and Engen than I am of you and Larry, to tell you the truth.
I'm telling people the Ingen thing is for me as like an arm wrestler. I mean, I'm gonna film it, but the Larry thing is a YouTube channel. The Ingen thing is, you know what I'm saying, to grow.
I want to see it all. I need to see it all for sure.
Yeah,
that'll be amazing.
But I'm gonna I got stuff I gotta do.
All right, man.
Appreciate you guys letting me tune in. And
thanks for coming in. Appreciate your time.
Joe, nice seeing you, Joe. Paul, thanks for tuning in. John, everybody subscribe to Uncle John's Arm Wrestling channel.
Thank you, brother.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
All right. See you later, Derek. Paul, we did have a question in the chat for you specifically.
Okay.
See if I can find it again. This is from, I think it was Dylan Courier. Paul, in your opinion, what is the best arm wrestling exercise besides table time?
Okay, so to me, it comes down to the first thing that was most important for me. So now I'm not even going to say that, like, I'm just saying that if you are an early arm wrestler, in my opinion, the most important thing that you can do, tool, exercise thing that you can make and start right away with is a wrist wrench. And I know it sounds stupid and I know it sounds so basic, but everything starts from the fingers back, and that wrist wrench is working your fingers and your wrist. For me, that's what I needed. I went hard at it. And to this day, every Monday and Friday, I pyramid all the way up to a 1 rep on that. And I track that when I'm trying to peak. And it's a small diameter wrist wrench too. I use multiple diameters, but the small one to me, I think it's a 2-inch diameter or slightly less. Mm-hmm. To me, that's the best fit. And if you have offset holes, then you can do it for high cup and low cup. Most important thing, in my opinion. You can do it on a table, or you can do whatever variations you want, but that tool is paramount, in my opinion.
Okay. Are you a fan of well, I guess with the wrist wrench, it doesn't have the strap, so you have to do beer bottle grip.
No, I mean,
Nope.
I have knurling on mine, so I will take it like this. I
Yep.
will. It's not grip tape, so it does slide, but I'll chalk it up and I'll hold it like this until I can with no thumb, and
Yep.
then I'll transition to this where part of my thumb pad touches it, that without putting the tip of my thumb on it. And as
Gotcha.
it gets to the point where I cannot control it, then I will use all of it, and then that's that 1 rep or that's that negative and hold.
Nice.
But I try to use one that's not so ridiculously big that I can actually do it with just my fingers.
Right. I'm a big advocate of that, as well as mimicking as closely as possible the position of my hand in arm wrestling. It's very rare that you arm wrestle like this.
Right.
Unless you're going against maybe Jeff Dabe or something like that. You know, it's most likely that you're going to be.
Yeah. And here's another point too. So what do we do? Like a lot of times people are like, what are the most important lift for arm wrestling? And everybody says pull-ups because it's a basic pulling lift, right? Mm-hmm. So when we're doing pull-ups, we do neutral grip pull-ups. We're pulling right down to here from like a totally like upright position, pulling straight down. The beauty of the wrist wrench is you can adjust that angle. And I like to do it freestanding where I can actually put that to the point where I would be in an arm wrestling match and actually add lat down with it. You know, so that whole idea of throwing back pressure. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that if we don't focus on that type of back pressure and we just focus on pull-ups, then that's no good. Hold on.
Yeah, it's one, you know, vector of you know, many important parts of the game. I do personally, I love pull-ups. I do a lot of pull-ups. But again, it's one aspect of that. Paul, I was just saying that I really enjoy pull-ups. I enjoy the way they feel, but you do have to remember with all things, arm wrestling is not one-dimensional in any way, shape, or form, right? So you have to pay attention to this and this and this and that, and it's all a little bit different. So that's a really good point of being dynamic and having the ability to really get out and get a hold of those things. Gary Roberts has returned to the chat.
Is Gary in?
I've been cued. I saw my cue.
There he is. Hey, Gary. Hey, I wanted to kind of talk about your concept too. That's why I was trying to kind of lead into like what's coming up in a couple of weeks here. And
can we talk about it? Can we talk about it?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, what is
super secret.
Do it. Hook it up. Okay, let's fill people in. How many people are watching right now?
72 people. Like a huge turnout tonight.
Yeah, excellent.
I think this is the best Tuesday night turnout so far, I think.
Super chat's a little light.
A little light on the super chat, guys.
A little light on I think everyone's spending on Travis.
That's true. That's true. You guys were on a roll this afternoon. That was very good.
He made like $160 in super chats.
That bastard.
That's amazing. That's really good. Anyways, everyone, thank you for being here. To catch you up, I love the call-in concept. Don't get me wrong. I love the shows that exist, like The Fix, the Four Guys. You know, it's awesome. But I love the idea of involving a rotating community, kind of mixing it up. So I kind of wanted to do that. And but you need a host. Uncle John is our host. I would love for other people to jump in for other days of the week. Uncle John can't do 365 days a year. My full vision is like you turn on CNN and you know, they're just talking about arm wrestling 24 hours a day. ANN, Arm Wrestling News Network. Bam, bam, bam. So that's obviously advanced in the future, but hey, we're starting off with one night a week so far, Uncle John. And bam, Paul Lynn, you bring credibility to the show. All right. So
I'm really upset that I'm the same weight as Paul Lynn right now, but my arm is not.
Oh, you're looking huge, man. You're looking huge.
It is getting better. It's getting better, but it's not good like Paul Lynn. I had to get down to 98 to get a little leaner.
If you're coming to 98, I'm going to 87. See you later.
Okay, so Paul Lynn, you told us you're doing an event, but keeping it a little on the DL.
Super secret.
Tell us about that. Tell us about that.
We are going to have the first of more to come. Underground hardcore arm wrestling is whatever James Reed's calling it. I'm partnered up with him on that, so it's going to be location undisclosed. We have a private group on Facebook. If you haven't heard about it, reach out to me. If you're interested, you can get me on all the socials.
I'm banned on all those.
No, not that one, Gary. This one's even different. I'll invite you, Gary. I'll invite you. That didn't work out well last time, though. I tried to invite
Okay. Super secret Facebook group. Go on.
Yeah. So underground arm wrestling. The idea is, it's going to be a smaller group. Basically, it's not invite only, but it's going to be word of mouth only. And the location is only going to be given a few days prior to the inner circle of that group to disseminate amongst their teams. As of right now, we have some really good names coming, which is what is going to make your concept really interesting. So
Wait, tease it. Hold on. Why are you doing it underground? What's going on that you have to do underground?
Well, there's a lot of, there's been some people reporting events and things like that, worrying about matches and people wearing masks and everything else and blah, blah, blah.
You're telling me somebody in the arm wrestling community is reporting events?
It happened. The New York State Championship was canceled because of it 1 week prior, and a lot of people lost a lot of money on their travel and everything else. Tragic.
That being said, I love the idea. Okay, so can I give just a little side story? Well, I was in the Marines in 91, 92, 93, so I'm in San Diego. And, Marines have nothing to do when they're single young men. You go down San Diego, you're just hanging out. And I'm by a Tower Records when the record store used to, be a thing. And this guy hands me a flyer and he's like, "Hey, man, you want to go to a rave tonight?" And I was like, yeah. So he gave me a flyer, but the flyer did not have location details. It said to be somewhere at some time where you'd be given another set of details.
That's cool shit.
And let me tell you, bro, I went to this rave. I was dancing all night. I think I popped a shroom or something. I have no idea. But this whole thing where you have a piece of info and then you got to go somewhere else to get another piece to it feels very eyes wide shut, kind of like super secret, not sex party, but it feels super cool. Elite, anyways, I love the concept. Even if the world changed, I'd love the concept of invite, word of mouth, special, super secret, underground arm wrestling. Keep it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's the plan. The plan is to have a few more locations here in the near future. And like I said, the concept that you're putting out is going to get beta tested. And I think it's going to be beta tested in a really good pool of arm wrestlers.
Nice.
So are you keeping the list of who comes super secret, or are you telling the group of people?
No, we can yeah. So there's a private invite only group that has about 100 people on it. Not all of them are going to come. But some of them, are already committed to come. So we know a few people who are definitely coming. Some guys names like Joel Hudick and Paul Talbot and Jason Merlot and Brandon Alcessor and some of these guys are
already.
Yeah. And then ILO, we got some guys in the super heavyweights. CJ Twine's coming up. It's gonna be a beefy little thing that's gonna be done pretty much with no cameras aside from Gary's thing. So that's the plan. There's gonna be no Facebook feed. So we'll videotape and do everything, but the only thing that you can live tune in for is probably going to be Gary's thing if you want to see it. We're also toying with the idea. This is another person we should probably drop. Ben Holden, the commenter from from WAL, the commentator, Ben Holden. We're
what?
going to be bringing him in and potentially doing a radio broadcast.
What?
Internet radio.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, Uncle John.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to talk shit about you for just a second.
Oh no.
Yeah, man. You're a terrible fundraiser.
I am?
I put out we're missing super chats, and already I've gotten you 3 super chats. Just a couple minutes.
I am terrible. I am terrible. Mazel Jador, Evan Keller. You actually got 4. 4.
Yeah.
Because Evan Keller was $6.99. And then we had Mazel with $5.49. And then Evan Keller didn't want to be outdone. So he went to another $2.79. And then Mazel Jador went over again with $3.99.
I gotta love the super chats. It's like a bid war.
Yeah.
It's like
I bow to your super chat expertise.
Uncle John thanks you for the super chats, but
Absolutely,
you gotta market that shit, bro. This is your time. Okay, so I want a little bit of backstory. Everyone knows I love the context. Artem and Herman were basically saying that I created some bad blood because you allowed me on your message board, and I turn around and dissed you by posting non-training content. And here we are. You called me, Paul Lynn. You called me and you said, hey, I got an idea. So let's be straight, Herman and Artem. Paul Lynn is the one who said, hey, let's try your idea at my underground arm.
Well, I actually commented on one of these things right here. That's where we got it going. I said, sure, I'll be glad to do that. Because we were talking about it. When that came up, you were talking about the other like underground practice challenge matches that we had. Yeah. And I think we were talking like, man, that would have been a good setting right there in a big ass, like one of the big practices. Yeah. But I think that this is going to be even cooler, and we're going to be able to see it in a scenario. When we have those practices like that, there's usually a couple good guys, but not that level of like pros that are going to be in the tournament. Yeah. And if we do that 1, 2, 3, it's going to be funny. It's going to be weird.
So for the community, you and I are cool. No bad, even though I can't pay attention to instructions. Clearly,
we're good. We are good.
There's been some comments. You are not the smartest tool in the shed, Gary. Yes, I know. Or sharpest. We got it. Check.
Neither am I.
Okay. So basically we're going to give away a little bit of prize money, and we're going to do the king of the table. I'm just going to call ruler of the nation. If I say ruler of the nation, it means king of the table. I'm taking over that phrase. For anyone else out there, if you haven't been paying attention, the heaviest guy goes to the table. The rest of people line up. It's bam, bam, bam. You want to tire the guy out at the end of a certain time period or rounds. This is why we're beta testing. We're not 100% sure. We're going to declare a winner to the guy with the most wins, then second, third, and I think we're doing 4th place. And so we're going to do that at your place. I thank you for allowing us an opportunity for everyone to. And here's why we're doing this. I got to be honest. I've said this a couple times. I'm going to say it again. I came to a tournament in 2015, even though I'd been away from the sport in a couple of years. I went to the LA Fit Expo. It was double elimination. I can't lie and say that I sat there and it was like Chris Chandler winning, Alan Fisher winning. I was like, I've been gone 5 years. It's the same. Right. I'm like, I need to mix it up. Personally, for me, I need a little bit of something different. The double elimination just bores me. The super matches, that's been done. So you guys are doing that, but I want to do something different. And I've always loved when I go to practices and we do king of the table. I've loved what happens. Right. And so I want to see if I throw money at the ruler of the nation, what happens? I want to make an advertisement. There's this guy. I'm heavy into like hair metal, like screamer kind of guys, like rock opera. I know this guy has this cool voice, movie rock star. And I want him to do a little commercial that says, it doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter how long you last. All that matters is who can survive the ruler of the nation.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh my God. Somebody send him a super chat.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I get, we know who the strongest guy
Right.
coming in. I want, like they said, the World Series of Poker, you know, you have to have some luck. I want people to not know who's going to win my tournament when I
Right.
put it like on TV, on YouTube. So I thank you very much for allowing us this fun ride. And I want anyone to know, if you participate, we're also going to do it at Travis Bajent's event March 26th, 7th, and 8th in Texas. It's about having fun. If you go to a tournament and you pay your entry fee, I want you to get like 4 matches. Even if you suck, get like 4 matches out of that. So anyways, thank you very much, Paul Lynn. Uncle John.
Thank you. Hey,
Hey,
Gary. Thank you, man. Thank you, because now we get to throw a couple bucks at an overall. So like you can take it for what it's worth, but there is not a whole lot of money getting thrown to arm wrestlers right now. So for us to be able to hop on there, especially because not a lot of these guys even know the format's coming. Like we kept it a little secret, but you know, to tell them, hey, guess what? We got $650 for this cool new concept overall. And oh, by the way, we're gonna take everybody who was first, second, and third in those classes, and you all get a shot to get that money.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I want people to know that as this channel grows, I'm like tonight, any of the money that comes in, it goes to Uncle John. If my channel makes a huge month, I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna throw it back into the sport.
Right.
I'm personally very lucky to be in a situation where I'm technically a stay-at-home dad, and so I don't have to earn an income. My wife, she crushes it, and arm wrestling right now, it doesn't need to provide an income, so I'm going to put all that money back and give it away to the arm wrestlers. That's my pledge to you. Before we go, Stacy Morgan, why should Travis get it all? LOL. $10 super chat from Stacy Morgan. Thank you. Evan Keller, $6.99. Stacy Morgan and I both from Ontario. Love you, John. Eric Rusen, $6.99 from Canada. Eric, we love what? Mizelle Jador, Canada attacks. Super chat. Dude, we came in at the last minute and saved Uncle John's night. Oh,
making the big moves. Okay, but I have a question for you, Gary. There's another Stacy Morgan super chat for $10 as well. Thank you, Stacy. But Gary, when this happens, are we live streaming your portion of that event? And are we commentating as we did in our little practice run we had?
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yes.
That's the goal.
That's the thing that's going to be the challenge in the moment, to make sure that I can get that set up the way we want. I like the idea of putting it where the down ref would be. Hopefully we can get audio and everything to sync up. I'll take that kind of.
I don't need fancy audio. We're gonna have the commentating.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter the audio. Do you just put it on a tripod? Down ref, we'll do the rest.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. That's all we'll need.
Just to simplify this, as you're on right now with your camera, and we see you, that's the only setup you need. Just point it to the table instead of you. Okay. Boom. You join in the Zoom, and we're good to go. Good to go. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining in for our 3rd show. We plan to make this a regular as the sport grows.
Yeah.
I mean, my goal would be to have 24 hours a day live broadcasting of, if there's so much happening, like for instance, if I'm able to give away $1,000 a weekend back into arm wrestling, then we'll have live chats during the show. We'll talk about the live chats after the show. And then as I get more prize money, I'll take the winner of those ROTNs and I'll fly them to the next event. And we'll just create arm wrestling content. That's what we do. Guys, thank you very much.
Thank
Rock
you so
on! Uncle John, awesome. Can't wait to, I'll talk to you later about how the show went. You let me know.
All right, fellas. Let me get
Guys,
Paul, thanks so much, Paul. Thanks everybody for being here. Big shout out to Cobra Rhodes. He's in the chat. Appreciate you coming on here, Cobra. Thank you guys so much for all the super chats, all the support. I absolutely appreciate it 100%.
Thanks, guys. Have a blessed night.
Good night. We'll see you next week. Pa-chow. Pa-chow. All right, Uncle John.